Stories are, by their very nature, stitched together from fragments. When I say stories are stitched together from fragments, I mean this. Life does not arrive in paragraphs, it arrives in raw, unedited moments. A sound, a look, a word, a sensation in the chest, a silence, a decision. These are fragments, they have no built in meaning. Then the mind arrives with a needle and it begins stitching. She pauses before replying. Fragment. You stitch. She is losing interest. Later she cancels once. Fragment. You stitch. This always happens to me. Now, three fragments become a pattern. A pattern becomes a belief. A belief becomes identity. Identity becomes destiny. All from fragments. You never experience a full picture. You experience snapshots. Memory does not store the entire day. It stores flashes, and between flashes, there are vast empty spaces. The mind cannot tolerate empty spaces, so it fills them with assumption, with imagination, with fear, with hope. That feeling is the stitching. Look at a movie, it is thousands of still frames per minute. Your brain blends them into motion. Reality is similar. But instead of visual continuity, the mind creates narrative continuity. It connects this happened, therefore that happened, therefore I am this. That therefore is fiction. Life does not say therefore, the mind says therefore. Fragments are incomplete by nature. A single moment cannot define a person, a single event cannot define a life. But the mind links them and says, see, this is who you are. That is stitching, and stitching always leaves seams. Those seams are where doubt, insecurity, and craving live. Because deep down you know this story doesn't fully hold. It feels slightly artificial. That subtle instability, that is because it is constructed. The danger is not that stories exist. The danger is that you forget they are assembled. You start believing the stitching is reality itself. You stop seeing the thread. You only see the garment and you call it me. Here is the quiet truth. Before the stitching, there is just experience. After the stitching, there is a self. The self is a story woven from fragments. Remove the stitching, what remains does not feel incomplete. It simply is. That is what I mean. A story is constructed. It is stitched together from selective memories, emotional highlights, interpretations, conclusions drawn in weakness, things others told you about yourself, moments you never questioned. A story is not reality, it is an arrangement, and every arrangement excludes something. That exclusion is what creates the sense of lack. You say, I'm not enough. No. What you actually have is a storyline that goes, this happened, then that failed, then she left, then I felt small, therefore I am incomplete. Do you see the stitching? A story is always missing data, always missing context, always missing the infinite other interpretations that were possible. So, of course, it feels incomplete, it is. But here is where the hypnosis happens. You began to believe if I fix the story, I will become whole. So you chase more success, more validation, more money, better physique, better reputation, better positioning. You're not chasing growth, you are trying to finish a story. And stories never finish. Even if you win, the mind will write a new chapter of lack. Wholeness is not the completion of a narrative. Wholeness is the absence of narrative. Before the story begins, are you incomplete? In a silent moment, no comparison, no memory, no projection. Is there lack or is there just presence? You are not incomplete, you are narrating, and narration fragments reality into cause and effect, hero and villain, loss and gain. Life is whole. The storyteller divides it. You want to feel whole? Stop preparing the script. See that the script itself is the fracture, and the moment you are not inside a story about yourself, there is no incompleteness to fix. Now understand this carefully. A story is an arrangement. An arrangement means some pieces included, some pieces excluded. You cannot include everything. So what gets excluded? Neutral moments, ordinary days, contradictory evidence, instances where you were strong, instances where nothing was wrong. And what is excluded feels like lack. When you define yourself by I was rejected, you exclude the fact that you are also resilient. When you define yourself by I succeeded, You exclude your vulnerability. Every definition amputates, and that amputation feels like incompleteness. The sense of lack is not coming from reality, it is coming from the narrow frame through which you are looking. Expand the frame, or better, step outside the frame. You are not the stitched fragments, you are the field in which all fragments appear, and the field is not missing anything. A story is constructed. Yes, constructed means chosen, not consciously, but chosen. Out of millions of moments in your life, you selected perhaps 50. Out of 50, you emotionally charged maybe 10. Out of 10, you built a conclusion from 3, and that became me. Do you see how fragile that is? Selective memories. Memory is not a recording device, it is an editor. You do not remember everything from 2010, 2015, 2020, 2025 when you are disciplined and alive. You remember the feeling of strength, the pride, the momentum. Likewise, you do not remember every neutral moment of your heartbreak. You remember the sentence she said, the look, the silence after. The mind does not archive truth, it archives intensity. So your self is built from emotional peaks, not totality, already incomplete. Emotional highlights. Emotion magnifies. A single rejection can outweigh 10 silent acceptance. One failure can overshadow years of competence. The story you tell yourself is not built from statistics, it is built from emotional voltage. The higher the charge, the deeper the engraving. So you are not living inside reality, you are living inside what hurt or thrilled you most. That is not boldness, that is a highlight reel. Interpretations. Nothing has meaning until interpretation enters. She didn't call, fact. She doesn't value me, interpretation. People leave, conclusion. I am not enough, identity. Do you see how quickly the mind moves? Interpretation is the stitching needle, but interpretations are guesses, and guesses become identity. Conclusions drawn in weakness. Most conclusions about yourself were drawn when you were tired, rejected, afraid, or young. You did not say, I failed this exam. You said, I am not intelligent. You did not say, this relationship didn't work. You said, I am unworthy of love. The mind generalizes pain. Weak states produce sweeping verdicts. Those verdicts become the spine of your story. Things others told you, parents, teachers, friends, society. You are too quiet. You are too intense. You are lazy. You are gifted. You are difficult. None of these were complete truths. They were observations from limited perspectives. But as a child, you observed them as definitions. Now you defend or rebel against those labels, still reacting to a sentence spoken 15 years ago. Moments you never questioned. This is the deepest layer. You assumed success equals worth, attention equals love, productivity equals value, physical attractiveness equals power. You never questioned the premise, so you built your entire narrative on unexamined assumptions. That is like building a house on sand. Now understand this carefully. A story is an arrangement. An arrangement means some pieces included, some pieces excluded. You cannot include everything. So what gets excluded? Neutral moments, ordinary days, contradictory evidence, instances where you were strong, instances where nothing was wrong. And what is excluded feels like lack. When you define yourself by I was rejected, you exclude the fact that you are also resilient. When you define yourself by I succeeded, you exclude your vulnerability. Every definition amputates, and that amputation feels like incompleteness. The sense of lack is not coming from reality, it is coming from the narrow frame through which you are looking. Expand the frame, or better, step outside the frame. You are not the stitched fragments, you are the field in which all fragments appear, and the field is not missing anything. So, you are not suffering from reality, you are suffering from continuity. Life gives you moments. The mind insists on turning them into a storyline. Moments are light, stories are heavy. Moments pass, stories linger. And the weight you carry is not from what happened, it is from what was stitched. You keep trying to heal the character in the story, but the character is made of thread. Pull the thread, and the character dissolves. Nothing is wrong with the fragments. They were never the problem. The illusion of coherence is. You want freedom? Do not improve the story. Do not rewrite it. Do not upgrade the protagonist. See the stitching. The moment you see the stitching, you are no longer trapped inside the garment. You are the space in which it was woven, and space is never incomplete.